want to show you that we do in fact have a smoke ring. So that's our spare rib. And this is our baby back rib. Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Jamison, and this is how I cook. Memorial Day weekend is upon us. And with Memorial Day weekend comes thoughts of summer, but most importantly, barbecue. Up next on This Is How I Cook, I'm going to show you how I prepare my ribs at home. I'm going to show you how to make baby back ribs as well as St. Louis style cut spare ribs. Up next on This Is How I Cook. Okay guys, before we get into the ingredients for the seasoning that I use on my ribs, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. It really does help my growing channel. So everything from here, starting with the seasoning salt to ending here with the accent, this is what I use on my ribs at home if I don't have a handy rib rub. So this rub comes from Costco. You can buy any type of rib rub if you go to the grocery store, and the approach will be the same in terms of how we apply it and how we use it on the meat so that we can produce the barbecue that we want. But if you don't have a rib rub at home, but you have some combination of these ingredients that I've got here next to it, then you can make a rub and seasoning blend for your ribs at home. So we've got seasoning salt. We're going to use 1 part seasoning salt. We're going to use half a part of garlic powder. We're going to use a little bit of soy sauce. We're going to use a half a part of smoked paprika. We're going to use a pinch of accent, and we're going to use, I'd say, 1 part black pepper, ground black pepper. So let's start with talking about the difference between baby back ribs and St. Louis style spare ribs. Baby back ribs are cut from what they call high on the hog. This means that on the side of pork, I mean the side of the animal, half the hog, this comes from up higher, closer to the backbone of the animal. The spare ribs are cut lower from the animal on the side, near the belly. So these are ribs, but they're cut from different heights on the hog. And so your spare ribs are your lower cut ribs, and your baby back ribs are cut higher. As a result, because of different muscle groups, they each have their own different textures and flavors when you cook them. I love baby back ribs. They have a nice, almost pork chop flavor to them. However, the most pork-rich flavor that you're gonna get from ribs is gonna come from your spare ribs. You see all this connective tissue. They have great collagen. When they break down, as you cook them slowly in the smoker, they produce a very delicious rib. You can't go wrong with either of these. Baby back ribs are considered more tender, but I gotta be honest, once you cook a spare rib appropriately and properly, you'll have a tender rib as well. Both of these will fall off the bone if that's what you want, and both of these will give you a nice bite feel if you want them to have a little bit of chew to them. So the first thing we're gonna start with is our seasoning salt, and I'm gonna use 1 part. So this is a teaspoon, so I'm gonna use 2 teaspoons, but it's all about ratio. So even though I'm using 2 teaspoons, I'm only gonna have quote unquote 1 part of seasoning salt. We're gonna use 1 part black pepper. Next we'll use half a part of garlic powder. We'll use half a part of smoked paprika. If you don't have smoked paprika, you can use just straight up old-fashioned Hungarian paprika or just regular paprika, that'd be fine. And then like I said, we'll use a pinch here of our free accent. This is just a flavor enhancer. So yeah, just a pinch to help bring our flavors out in our rib seasoning. So now that you've got all these ingredients combined, next thing you want to do is just give all this a good shake. At this point, you can give it a taste and see if you like the salt content. If you want it a little bit more salty, add some salt. If you don't want it as salty, then leave it where it's at, or add some more of your favorite ingredients. But this is our rib rub. The first thing I like to do with my ribs is I like to give them a rinse under cold water to wash off any of the blood that was in the packaging on the ribs. The next thing I like to do is take some paper towel and I want to just blot my ribs dry. While we have our ribs turned over, bone side up, the next thing we want to do is remove this tough membrane that's on the back of the ribs. And so what I want to do here to remove this membrane is I come down to the end of the rib here and just look for a place to grab hold to it. And once you get a good grip, just take your time and remove this membrane. I promise you this step is well worth it. And now that I've got it coming off, we've got skinned ribs. To begin finishing the preparation for our ribs, I'm gonna take some of my soy sauce and I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on the back side of these ribs. Next thing we wanna do is take our prepared rib rub. And notice I have a dry hand and then my wet hand. So what I do is take my rub with my dry hand and I get up kind of high. And I just give this a good sprinkle all over. Make sure you get the edge of your ribs. When I eat a rib, I want to taste the rib, all the rib. Think about it. You put that bone in your mouth, you want to suck on that thing, man. You want something flavorful. And so the best way to do that is by making sure you get all the edges of your ribs. And that, my friends, is our seasoned ribs. For my baby backs, I'm going to show you how I use this store-bought rub from Costco. So I don't put any soy sauce on here. I don't put any other spices on there. All I'm gonna do is take this rub and just generously apply it to my baby back ribs. And at this point, all you're looking for is any thin spots with rub. See like that part there underneath? Come back in, fill it in. Now the last thing we want to do is we've got this trash bag. And if you're going to use a trash bag, use a non-scented, no chemical enhanced, fragrance enhanced trash bag. Just some straight up old fashioned trash bags with no scents or anything added to them. Because if you use a scented trash bag, it'll pollute and damage your meat and you have to throw the whole thing away. So these trash bags have no scent, no fragrance, nothing added to them to make them odor canceling or any of that. They're just straight plain white trash bags. And so I want to take this and take this piece of meat and I'm going to show you how to put it into the bag. So we've got the meat here laid out. And what I do is I come here with the back of the bag and I just take it and fold it over like this. So then I take the front of the bag like this and I turn it over and I open the front of the bag, pull it open like this, and then I reach down and grab the ribs through the bag. They're wrapped now in the bag. See the ribs right here? And then I pull it through into my trash bag, just like that. And now, my ribs are inside my trash bag, and I can just get the air out. I'll take my knife and remove the excess bag. And now, my seasoned barbecue ribs are in a leak-proof bag, ready to go into the refrigerator overnight. Okay guys, hope you guys followed along with me. Tomorrow, what we're gonna do is take these ribs outside. I'll show you how to set up the smoker, show you how to use a charcoal smoker to cook these ribs. These ribs will take probably about 2.5 hours to cook the way that I cook them. I'll show you how to use wood chunks, charcoal, set up your fire. It'll be a beautiful time outside of my kitchen on my deck the extension of my kitchen. Okay, so now that our coals are lit in our charcoal chimney, we're gonna take these and set up a 2-zone fire. I want charcoal on this side, and I want charcoal on this side, with the middle being bare with no charcoal inside. The middle is where we're gonna put our meat, and the charcoal is gonna be on each end of the ribs. So I've got a piece of oak. This is red oak. Now, if you're using wood from like your store, like hickory chunks, you gotta soak those in water. But if you use a big enough chunk of wood like this, you don't have to worry about soaking it in water, because I want a little bit of the heat in here to help my meat to cook. Give them one more brushing. We want to get this soot off that we created when we burnt these grates off. That way we don't have all this black sludge and smut on our meat. See, if that would have been on our meat if we didn't wipe this grill off. Spray this one more time with a little bit of oil. All right, guys, here are our ribs after cooking for about 1.5 hours. The ribs in the front are our baby backs that I seasoned with my rub from Costco. And the spare ribs, the St. Louis style spare ribs, in the back are the ones I seasoned with my homemade blend of spices. We're gonna let these go for another 30 minutes. And then what I'm gonna do is wrap them in aluminum foil and cook them until they become tender in the foil. That should take about 30 to 45 minutes. So we have about another 1 hour and 15 minutes to go before we put on our final touch of sauce. I've also replenished my coals. So I've got new charcoal on the left-hand side and new charcoal on the right-hand side. Okay guys, it's time to check our ribs so we can wrap them. Oh yeah. Yeah, these turned out amazing. So take your favorite barbecue sauce and apply it to the ribs. And then we just want to brush it on. We'll let the residual heat in the smoker set the sauce on these ribs. It'll take about 15 minutes. Then I'll take them off and I'll carve them and show you how they turned out. And there you have it. My barbecue ribs. The ones in the front are our St. Louis spare ribs, and these back here are our baby back ribs. So I'm gonna show you how to carve these up real quick. And this is easier, admittedly, if they're not glazed, but since we already put the glaze on them, what you wanna do is find in between the bones. Sometimes you miss, you missed the first one. Just come in, take your time. And these are so tender, they really don't need much. And then what I like to do is just come down and slice these just like this. I want to show you that we do in fact have a smoke ring. So that's our spare rib. And this is our baby back rib. Oh man. Oh man. You know what I gotta do? I gotta do it for you. It's time for the taste test. I think I'm gonna start here with this spare rib. Oh, who needs that bone? Who needs that bone? Yeah, man. Beautiful smoke ring. I don't normally like my ribs with sauce on them, but I did it for the purposes of the video. Here we go. Oh, That melts in your mouth, literally. The That is simply delicious. All right, let's try this baby back rib. Yep. I'm sorry, who needs the bone? Oh! That is amazing. You get all these wonderful flavors, but the main thing you're getting is smoke. Garlic, salt, the umami from the accent, the soy sauce. Both of these rib preparations are amazing. Guys, I'm not gonna say too much more. You know they're good. You can see they're good. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and tell somebody about this channel and that, hey, I'm showing people really how I cook. Do me a favor, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Tell somebody you love them. Take care, and I'm gonna finish these ribs. Hold on, I got a little bit more left here. Yes, a little bit more left here.